They didn't just come to hurt you. They came to drain you, to confuse you, to twist your reality until you forgot who you were. You thought it was love. You thought it was friendship. You thought you finally found someone who saw your soul. But what you found was a narcissist. And not by accident. It was a spiritual setup. Because narcissists are magnetically drawn to chosen ones. It's not love. It's warfare. Spiritual warfare disguised as romance. A soul battle hiding behind charm, compliments, and empty promises. You see, chosen ones carry light. And that light exposes what's hiding in the dark. So when a narcissist sees your purity, your empathy, your power, they don't admire it. They want to consume it. They want to wear your light like a mask and leave you in the shadows. It starts subtle. They mirror you, say the right things, make you feel like you finally found your person. But deep down, something feels off. You ignore the red flags because they package it so perfectly. They pretend to love you, but it's not you they love. It's your energy. You are a divine power source, and they're spiritually bankrupt. So they attach themselves to you. They feed on your validation, your forgiveness, your time. And once they know you're emotionally invested, the mask slips. Suddenly, the compliments turn into critiques. The affection turns cold. The conversations twist into mind games. And you, chosen one, you start doubting yourself. That's the goal. Not just to break your heart, but to break your identity. Because the moment you stop knowing who you are, you're easier to control. And that's what narcissists crave. Control, domination, power over someone they secretly envy, because they know you're special. They've never had your level of insight, your intuition, your capacity for real love. So they try to destroy what they can't duplicate. This isn't just emotional abuse. It's a direct attack on your purpose. Because if the enemy can use a narcissist to drain a chosen one, he can delay your calling. That's why so many chosen ones end up in toxic relationships. Not because they're weak, but because their heart is open, pure, giving. And the wrong spirits see that as a target. They see your compassion as an entry point. They see your loyalty as an opportunity. And they see your potential as a threat. You might be asking, why me? Why do I keep attracting these types? The answer is simple and terrifying. Because your soul emits a signal that calls out to both the wounded and the wicked. You're not just noticed, you're sensed. And while good souls are drawn to your healing, narcissists are drawn to your light, so they can destroy it and feed off the ashes. They need a source of power, someone to project on, someone to blame, someone to break, so they don't have to face the brokenness inside themselves. And you, chosen one, with your divine empathy, you become their mirror, a reflection they can't stand. So instead of healing, they attack. And here's the secret they don't want you to realize. They don't choose you because you're weak. They choose you because you're stronger than they'll ever be. That's why they isolate you, why they lie, why they gaslight you until you question your own memory. Because if you ever fully stepped into your power, they'd be exposed. And narcissists can't survive the truth. So they hide behind manipulation. They twist stories. They love bomb, then withdraw. Push you, then blame you for reacting. It's a game, a spiritual one. And the prize is your soul. They want you to stop trusting your intuition. They want you to believe that you're the problem. Because if they can take your mind, they don't need chains. You'll stay stuck on your own. But not anymore. Because today, you see it for what it really is. Not a coincidence. Not just a bad relationship, but a divine wake-up call. God allowed that narcissist in your life for one reason. To wake up the warrior inside you. That relationship wasn't to destroy you. It was to activate you. To teach you discernment. To show you how sacred your love is. And to remind you that not everyone deserves access to your energy. Because your energy is holy. It heals. It uplifts. It transforms. And in the hands of someone unhealed, it becomes a weapon against you. But now you're different. Now you recognize the patterns. You understand that love shouldn't feel like confusion. It shouldn't feel like fear. It shouldn't feel like walking on eggshells in your own heart. You were never created to be drained. You were created to pour into the world from a place of divine overflow, not depletion. And the narcissist, they were just the final test before your elevation, the final distraction before your breakthrough, a counterfeit connection that came right before God sends the real one. Because that's how the enemy works. He sends distraction before destiny, a manipulator before a miracle, a test before the transformation. And now you're waking up. Now you're reclaiming your voice. Now you're stepping back into your truth with fire in your soul and clarity in your spirit. They thought they broke you, but all they did was build you. They underestimated you, chosen one, because they mistook your softness for weakness, your forgiveness for foolishness, your compassion for blindness. But what they didn't know is that while they were trying to manipulate you, you were evolving. While they were playing mind games, you were gaining spiritual insight. And while they were draining your energy, God was filling your spirit with divine power. They saw your heart, and they tried to exploit it. But now your heart is guarded by wisdom. You see through the flattery. You feel the energy behind the words. You no longer chase validation, because you've been validated by heaven itself. That's what scares them now. You're not reactive anymore. You're not confused. You're not desperate to be chosen, because you finally realized you are the chosen one. Chosen not just to survive, but to lead. You were sent here to break generational patterns, to disrupt emotional cycles, to be the first in your bloodline to say, "This ends with me." And that requires being betrayed. It requires walking alone. It requires facing narcissists and choosing to heal instead of hate. That's the mark of the chosen one. The narcissists thought they could take your power, but in the end, you took yours back, piece by piece, tear by tear, lesson by lesson. And now you're no longer confused about who they were. You're clear. They weren't love. They were a lesson, a test sent by the enemy that God used for your transformation. Because here's the truth most people won't tell you. The narcissist was never your enemy. They were your mirror. They reflected back the parts of you that still needed healing. The wounds, the self-doubt, the unhealed childhood pain that craved external approval. And when you finally faced it, you broke the cycle. That's why they had to go. That's why the connection couldn't stay. Because your elevation required purification. Your calling required clarity. And their presence was noise. Noise that kept you from hearing God's voice clearly. So now you stand in silence, but not in loneliness. You're alone, but not abandoned. Because in this space, God is rebuilding you. Stronger, wiser, more aligned. You're no longer who you were when you first met them. You're not that version of yourself who second-guessed everything. You're not the soul that tolerated emotional warfare disguised as passion. Now, you discern. You don't just hear words. You feel vibrations. You don't just see behavior. You sense intentions. And that's what makes you dangerous to the darkness. Because chosen ones with discernment, they're spiritual snipers. They can see through charm. They can feel when love isn't pure. They don't just react. They respond with purpose. That's who you are now. Not bitter, just aware. Not guarded, just protected. Not angry, just awakened. And here's the most powerful part of your story. You didn't let the pain turn you cold. You didn't let the betrayal make you cruel. You didn't let their lies redefine your worth. You rose anyway. And now, your light burns brighter. Your purpose pulses louder. Your aura speaks before you even open your mouth. People sense something has shifted in you. The same ones who played with your heart now feel uneasy around your energy because they can't lie to you anymore. They can't manipulate you. They can't control a soul that's anchored in divine truth. So don't regret the encounter. Don't hate the narcissist, because through them, you discovered you, your boundaries, your voice, your value. And now, you attract different. You attract people who honor your depth, who meet your spirit instead of trying to steal your shine, who feel like peace, not a puzzle you're constantly trying to solve. This is the reward for the pain. This is the oil that comes from the crushing. This is the anointing born from the agony. You passed the test. You broke the chain. You healed what others ran from. And now, God trusts you with more. More wisdom, more peace, more authority, more divine connections. The enemy tried to send a narcissist to confuse you, but God used it to clarify your purpose. Now the narcissist is confused. Why aren't you chasing them? Why did your energy shift? Why does your silence speak louder than your words? Because you're no longer accessible. You're protected. You're chosen.